age were we when we met?
The very first time we met, I was co-hosting Saturday Night Live, and you were about 11.
That tracks.
And my husband's manager, Elliot Roberts, came into my room, into the dressing room, and he said, "There's a little girl outside that would really like to meet you. Can I bring her in?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course. You know, why would you even need to ask me? Of course, bring her in." And he brings in you. And I was like, "But that's like Drew Barrymore."
You transcended the page and the poster to me. You were a woman who I just idolized. I was so drawn to you. By the way, everybody was. I was in a long sea of infinity of worship. When you came onto the scene, you actually changed the game. You were the very first woman to garner a contract. You sort of broke a record and set a new tone for what not just a woman in your profession, but a woman in general could get paid for a contract. I mean, when you first started, you moved to New York at 15?
I moved to Paris at 15, and then I moved to New York at 17 and a half.
Where did you get discovered? How did it all happen? And I know you can read about it, but...
I can read about it in my book, No Filter. But yes, but also, to make it brief, it was my best girlfriend that loved to do photography, and she loved to do makeup. And so she would use me as her little, test rabbit when I was like 12, 13. And she would do these like little Kodak Instamatic pictures, and she sent them to, I guess, a modeling school in town. And the woman that she sent the pictures to saying, "What do you think of my photography, and how does one do like professional makeup?" The lady got back to her and she's like, "Makeup, who's the girl? How tall is she, and how old is she?" And so I met up with this lady that I had no idea. My girlfriend was like, "Would you meet with this lady that thinks that you have potential as a model?" And I was like, "What?" To me, that was as foreign as if she had said, "Do you want to go out into outer space?" Because I was really bullied in school. I was a political refugee. I was known as a political refugee. This is all in my book, by the way, if anybody cares, if you're interested.
We do.
Thank you. So growing up, I wasn't growing up as a pretty little girl. I was growing up as the gawky little communist kid that's, can't get a date to save her life. And so when somebody said model, I was like, they must be making a mistake. And I went to meet this lady, and she introduced me to John Casablanca about 3 weeks later. I'm still 14 years old at this point. And John Casablanca was the owner of Elite Models.
He was the biggest. And his son, Julian Casablanca, was the bandmate of my boyfriend, Fabi, for 5 years.
That's right, I know. And we did not run into each other then, but I can tell you that I changed Julian's diaper a few times, and he hit me with a baseball bat.
Oh, God. Yes. I'm sure he's like, "Oh, why did I do that now?"
Anyway, so and John just kind of looked at me and he said, "Do you want to go to Paris?" And I was about to go to France to be an au pair. I was like, "Sorry, family. I guess I'm going to go and try my luck at that modeling thing." I got lucky.
I mean, when I met you also, not at 11...
I think you were in your 20s, so I must have been in my
20s.
30s.
You were there with Rick Ocasek, your husband,
right.
The father of your children.
Correct.
You're a long-time partnership. How long were you together?
33 years, 35, but
That's a life.
Yeah, it's a long time, yeah.
That's a lifetime, a beautiful life that you built.
Thank you.
And you also have someone in your life that, to me, seems like something I also kind of want to talk about as like a movement, which is good choices.
Good choices, which you can only make when you know what you want. I took 3 years between the death of my husband and meeting my now love. Took 3 years where I dated a lot because I felt like I needed to find out what it is that I wanted. You know, that I know what I don't want, but what do I want? And I needed the examples. Again, found a lot of what I didn't want, but cool, you know, experience.
But you actually met your person on a dating app.
I did.
That gives me so much hope. That gives everybody hope. If you go out and you meet someone at a party and you meet someone on an app, it's like we all need those seeds of hope because you're like, oh, it does happen. It can happen. And it's so beautiful. Okay, we have to cut to a quick commercial. I don't want to, but the good news is we'll be right back.